We are spending 22 minutes today with comedian Louie Anderson. I almost said legendary comedian, but I heard
that means you're old, then. It means you're old.
Yeah, I heard you goofing on somebody for that.
I don't really mind it. I mean,
It's
you know,
okay.
I just feel maybe if it's pretentious or not.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You've been around a while, right?
Yeah. But, you know, you forget. Like, I don't measure that I've been doing comedy 37 years.
Has it been that long?
It doesn't measure for me. Like, I don't know what 37 years feels like, except that I've been doing it that long.
Now,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it kind of does. Now, you're at Caroline's in New York City.
With Martha.
With Martha.
She's opening the show. From the show,
yes.
from Baskets.
Oh, she's great.
Martha Kelly.
She's great. She's great. I want to
she's
talk
great.
about Baskets, but Caroline's, is that sort of a 30-year anniversary or something?
It is funny. I think I played the very first Caroline's when it was over on, right over there.
Over there?
That's what people do, right over there. And I haven't been back since. I haven't always had a big presence in New York, although I've always loved the city. I'm a Midwestern guy, so I tend to do a lot of shows in the Midwest.
Right. So what is it like then when you are in the city? Is the New York crowd
Fabulous.
different? Are they
I
a different vibe, different energy?
You know what I love about New York, if you want to know about diversity, that's the street.
Yeah.
The street's full of diversity. You know, every person is walking down the street in New York City.
Right.
It's not like any other city in the country that I see.
Yeah, good. Does that make for a good audience to play off of and interact with? Or?
Yeah, you know, I don't know, I haven't been here a lot, but I always judge my audiences with the best intentions, that they have the best intentions and I have the best intentions.
Yeah.
Like, my goal is going to make them laugh and forget about their troubles, and their goal is to, you know, surrender to that and enjoy themselves.
Yeah, yeah, we could use that right about now, definitely, with what's going on in the world. Yeah, it is, it is. When you
Remember when your mom and dad used to say that? The world's gone, my dad goes, the world's gone nuts. I go, and you're nuts. What, Louie? I said, you're right. You know?
Right, right.
And my mom would be the optimistic one. Well, they're just mixed up people. To give everyone the benefit of the doubt, you know, they're just mixed up.
That's one way of looking at it, I guess. Now, when you do a routine at a Caroline's, or do you do sort of like is it like a longtime rock band going in? All right, you know, I have to kind of do my greatest hits. I'm going to talk about I'm going to do my mom, I'm going to do my dad, I'm going to do family stuff that people have come to kind of expect from me, or do you work a lot of new stuff into the routine? How does that work?
Well, I'm at a crossroads right now because I just, you know, I will always do some of my greatest stuff to that, you know, that I think people are looking forward to. And then I'm working on a new special. So I'm trying to find the bones to that. And that's always a lot of fun, Bridget, because you know what, I'm getting a chance to, I don't know, it's like I'm a doctor and I'm looking for what's wrong or what's right with the patient. But I get to open them up and look inside, you know.
Meaning
the jokes, you know.
The jokes. So you kind of test them out on a live audience.
You know, like I've been testing out inclusion, you know, and people being inclusive.
Right.
You know, instead of you know, everybody talks about inclusion. Well, what does it mean? Who do I include? And who should I be including? And who should we be including? You know what I mean? Instead of exclusion, which seems to be going on in all the political stuff. You know, the Democrats are excluding the Republicans' thinking, and the Republicans are excluding the Democrats' thinking.
Right.
And they should be really, you know, they should be really speaking to the public. And so I'm listening for the people who are speaking to the public. And half of them are already gone. You know, they're out of the fray. But, you know, I find something good and interesting about all the candidates for the most part, you know.
I know you
I'm a Democrat from Minnesota. I'm a Hubert Humphrey Democrat in this, you know, crazy world.
And weren't you at the White House for the Reagans? I was. I heard you talking about that when Nancy Reagan passed.
But I got a chance to take my mom to the White House, so, you know, that trumps so to speak. That trumps everything, because, you know, I wanted to take my mom to the White House, and a kid from the projects getting to go and play at the White House, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's a giant thing.
What was it like for her?
She loved it, I think. She
Yeah.
loved it.
Did she have any choice comments while she was there at the White House?
She just looked it all over like, You know, my mom was that kind of, I stole a little of that for Christine in the show, but she was very, My mom could make you feel like something might be wrong by just her looks.
That is the Christine look. Let's talk
Yeah.
about baskets. So I understand that Louis C.K., the producer, right?
Yeah.
Originally, he wanted a British actress for the
Actually,
role.
I think Zach did.
Zach did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she wasn't available. I should call her and thank her. I always think about that. But, and then he was trying to get it out of Zach, who he had in mind for his mother. And Zach, it said, it's a sound in my head. And he made the sound. And Louis said, do you mean like Louie Anderson? And Zach said, yes. He said, should we call him? He goes, yes. And they called me. And I said, yes.
What did you think when you got the call? Like, oh my goodness, Louis C.K. Had you ever worked with either Louis C.K. or Zach before?
Not Zach, but I had worked with Louis in the Montreal Comedy Festival, either just before or right after him. But I had watched him, and I thought he was terrific. And so I said, you know, hey, you're really good. Like, I didn't, you know, I hardly ever watch comedians because you have to be careful not watching comedians.
Why is that?
Well, because premises can seep into your act without even you having any recollection that there's somebody else's. So I'm always really careful
It's
about
like you don't want to mistakenly plagiarize anybody if you watch their
just,
routine.
You can do it easily because there's only so many premises and so many ideas, and
Right.
their angle on something might even take you to someplace. So
Right, interesting. So you got the part.
yeah,
And did you know at that time, I'm going to play Christine Baskets as my mom, or did that just come
I
as you
didn't
were
know.
created? How did that develop?
you know, I got there, I put the clothes on because I had a wig, so I had to put the wig on last. So I put the clothes on, which was a new experience. You know, I'd never really put any of my mom's clothes on or anything. And I had 5 sisters, but I never really, I think they used to dress me up as a little girl, you know, just to be, to torture their little, you know, when I was really
Yeah,
tiny.
as all older female siblings
yeah.
will do to the
This
younger
is our
boy
new
sibling.
doll. And so I put the clothes on, then I put the wig on. And then, you know, when people put lipstick on you, it changes you, I think.
Was that the moment?
You know, when this makeup went on, and then she said, I'm going to put lipstick on you. And I went, you are? And then she put it on. And you go like this when they put it on. And you look at yourself in the mirror, you know, they're making you up. And they put that on, and then they put the wig on, and you go, huh, I'm not bad as a woman. You know, and then I never let anyone call me Louie on the set.
So you stay in, does that come under the auspices of method acting,
I
or are you
said,
just
I'm
trying to
gonna-
concentrate?
You know, extras would be getting their makeup, and they'd say hi, and I go, hi, I'm Christine.
Just,
And they didn't know. Sometimes I think they just thought it was crazy, but that's okay too. But I just go, I'm Christine Baskets.
and if
and they
somebody
go-
says, hey, Louie, will you not answer them?
Never. I mean, I will. I mean, if it's, no, probably not. I'll probably correct them. You mean Christine? Because, you know, I'm in that character, and I want to be true to it. And then, you know, what happened was, the role is about being a mom, and, you know, my mom was a very powerful person in my life. Raised 11 children, put up with my dad, and so I channeled that. You know, I figured, what would my mom do in this situation? And also, I'm very protective over Zach as Chip and Dale.
Right, I should mention the premise of the show is Zach's character, twins. One of
Yeah.
them is a sort of a failed clown in a sense? He was trained in Paris, and now he's in a rodeo?
He hasn't failed yet. He didn't do well at school because he didn't speak French. He went to France to learn clown, but he didn't speak French. So, some beautiful scenes shot in France, aren't there? Have you seen? You haven't seen them yet?
I've only gotten to see 2 episodes so far.
You know, there's an amazing thing, and you haven't seen them all, but in last week's episode, they shot these beautiful flashback scenes of Zach in France as a clown.
And they were shot in
the week these guys were planning their criminal behavior, you know, in Paris.
Oh, okay.
The same week, a few blocks away. Those guys were planning.
Oh, my goodness.
And I just thought, here these people are doing art. The day they left, that was the night of the attacks.
Is that right?
And I just think, oh my God. I mean, you know, like it brought so much more to the gravitas of it, in the sense of like, oh my God, we're all just very close to these crazy things that people are doing. I don't mean to bum anyone out, but I just thought there was a giant thing there.
Yeah.
It made me think a lot about it, and I don't want to dwell on it. I didn't bring it up for that, but I just thought, isn't it ironic that these people are doing art and those people are trying to destroy people? And is there a difference? I mean, and this is what I think. This is where I think a lot of the violence comes from: exclusion. Are people who are excluded from things and don't feel like they fit in, are they people who the hurt is so great or the exclusion is so personal that they turn to, you know, retribution, that they turn to trying to destroy what hurt them? And I just think, even as a fat kid, you know, you're picked on and that kind of exclusion. I was just really verbal, and so.
Well, there's always a dark side to comedy, right? I mean,
Oh my God.
Louis C.K., right? I remember when he did SNL, the shots of him going into commercial had him as a Pagliacci, right? The sad clown. Do you think there's a dark side to all comedians?
I think, you know,
Or a lot?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a definitely, all that humor has to come from somewhere. And I think I think all that humor comes from being able to, you know, it's like alchemy, you know, you swish it around in the right solution and it's palatable. I used to do a joke where my dad was not the most pleasant human being. So I said, how can I do a joke about that? I go, well, my dad never hit us. He carried a gun. And that got a laugh. And I go, he never shot us. He just go. And so all of that, and so I learned, you know, how to turn that into that.
Right, you found a lot of humor in your dad and in your mom. And you mentioned part of such a huge family. What do you think that was part of why you became a comedian? You had this family of 11 kids.
For attention.
Was it that? Were you the funny one of the family, or were you all funny?
Everybody's funny. It's a very funny family. So I'm not the funniest one in the family. I just got very lucky.
Really?
You know, it's really funny. You're right. I mean, there is a truth to that. And I think I was the kind of kid who wrote funny lines for the bullies so they wouldn't pick on them. Okay. You know? So I think I always used humor as a defense mechanism to survive my dad and to survive the alcoholism that he brought to the family.
That's right. Now, he passed in late 70s,
yeah,
right?
79.
Yeah, but your mom was around
in 1990
for a much longer time, yeah. So we get to see Mom, or an essence of her on
Well, you know, you get to
baskets.
see Dad, too. You know, you get to see the mean part of Christine is Dad. You know, or, you know, that, you know. But the thing about Christine is she's so passive-aggressive, you don't know if she's being mean or if she's really being nice. Is that nice or was that mean? And that's what's so fun about playing that character.
Yeah. Hey, talking about your background in comedy, and it sounds like the time that you really hit it was when you went on the Carson show. It was still Carson, right?
Yeah.
And he asked you to take a second bow, right? Which he really never did that with anybody.
I was on my way back to the dressing room and he goes, Johnny wants you out there. He does? Where is it? Because I didn't know. And I had to go run back there, or waddle in my case. And I went back out there and took another bow. It was a dream, you know, come true.
What is that like when you're asked, first of all, when you're asked to do a gig like The Tonight Show,
Yeah.
do you say, okay, this is it. This is going to make or break me?
You're so prepared, I think, for my generation. I had like 10 Tonight Shows prepared. You know, I mean, I think that's my era.
Yeah.
I had like, you know, my first Tonight Show was, I worked on it for like 7 years.
Really?
You know, and that's why I think it was so strong. There wasn't one chance of any of those jokes not doing well.
Wow.
And then I tried to pick material that would represent my whole act.
Yeah.
You know what? Comics are serious about what they do, I think.
Yeah.
Probably we're too serious about it. But I promise you at Caroline's, I won't get real serious about anything. Except at the end, where I'll try to talk you into calling your sister that you haven't talked to in 7 years.
You keep the jokes coming. And in the movie Coming to America,
Yeah.
that's another thing. When you say Louie Anderson, a couple of people in the newsroom were like, oh, you got to talk to him about Coming to America. That really is a classic scene. You're the lettuce washer, right, who wants to be promoted?
Yeah. Soon I'll be on Fries. The Fryer, I think I say. Or I can't remember the... People know the line better than I remember it. But I remember shooting that and how much fun it was and how much Eddie and the director, John Landis, helped walk me through that to make it funnier.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
He one of the greats in your book?
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
They're just talking about, you know, like his Raw, I think, wasn't that?
That was one
it
of his
Raw?
big specials.
Yeah, when you watch that, you just think, wow, and I think he did a movie out of Raw, where it was a movie, where he released it as a movie.
Yeah.
And it was great. I heard he was going to start doing comedy again.
Well, he
which would
did
be
it on the SNL special, right? Remember
Oh,
that?
I think he
just
did,
kind of got
yeah.
up there and didn't really say much, and a lot of people were like, why didn't you do some stand-up?
Oh.
Crazy.
I don't know. I watched some of that, and I think I watched all of it, and then I was just kept going, oh my God, he's on. Oh, they're on. And I remember when I auditioned for Saturday Night Live with
You did?
Franken and Davis, yeah.
What
was
time frame
terrible.
was that?
1901. It was right after the first, the Revolutionary War. I think it was after John Belushi died, I think. It was in that era. It was when Franken and Davis were running the show.
They were early.
Yeah, I don't remember when that was, but I got to audition. I was terrible.
Do you remember, what did you do for the audition? Did you do a
Just
stand-up
stumbled
routine?
around. I did. They just asked me. I don't really know. I just know I was really nervous and I did terrible at it.
Really?
You know. I wish I would have done well, but you know, it wasn't my destiny.
No.
You know, that's how life is in show business.
You don't know where it's going to take you.
You don't, but God, I'm really lucky I'm at where I'm at right now because it's, you know, look at this great role I have.
It is great.
It's so much fun to play.
And, you know, also I was thinking about this, about the role that you're playing, like the transgender thing it's kind of a hot thing right now, right? You have Transparent with Jeffrey Tambor.
He's great in that.
Yeah. Do you look at him as sort of like...
I watched one of the episodes of that to see what he was doing. And that thing that he was doing was nothing, and that's what I really liked.
Nothing meaning...
Well, he didn't really change his voice into something else for that. And you know, that was... I don't even think we talked about Christine's voice. I just used my voice. But I did affect it a little bit, just how my mom talked, really. You know, all my mom's voice was connected to all of the parts of her face. Well, oh yeah. Always these. What is she looking at? She was really great. She was very. She could have. I think, you know, if you believe in that stuff, I think she had something to do with me getting the part. I don't know.
Really?
You know, those kind of spiritual things I believe in.
Yeah. She does that little, almost like an over-the-shoulder move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have been. She could have played royalty, I think. You know, I think that's how, you know, I think my mom thought of herself she was very spoiled as a child, as my aunt told me. And, you know, my grandfather was crazy about her. And so I think she always felt like she was someone special. And I think that's how she was able to pass on so much love to us. you know, because I think she knew how to make us feel special, even though we were dirt poor and my dad was an alcoholic. She made us feel like we were all individually her own, like her favorite one. She was really good at that.
What was it like for her when you hit it big and all of a sudden you
You know, I think
have a little money?
I think she was happy. You know, I tried to make her life better, and we got to go to the White House, and we got to do the Hollywood Squares together once when we had Mom Week, and she was really funny. And I thought, oh, Mom's really funny. She did good.
Yeah. You did Family Feud for a while,
I
right?
did.
That's
the best job in the world.
You love that. You love that.
I love
Why was
giving
it so
people
great?
money. Do you know how happy, like if you were to walk in here and give any one of these people in here $20,000, do you know how look forward they would all be here? The next day there'd be 300 people. Hi, how are you, Bridget? What an outfit, right?
$22,000, please.
22,000. I'm sorry.
Is it true that Richard Dawson, the late, with all due respect, that he wouldn't come on the show,
No,
or is
he
that
was-
just a
no, I
scurrilous rumor?
invited him. No, I
He didn't
invited
want to?
him.
Why not?
I think he was agoraphobic, to believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think he left the house much.
Oh.
So I never really held it against him. And also, I think he was mad that they didn't give him the show again.
Oh.
You know.
Okay.
But you know, you know, a lot of times, you know, in this world, you're too old to do something in all these businesses. Do you know what I mean? Like in show, like I just all of a sudden fell out of a demographic one day. Like I wasn't in any demographic. What am I in? You were just recently. You're in the up to 59. I was. Thank you. But now I'm gonna be 60, and
Yeah. What was that again?
63.
Uh-huh.
Can
Oh,
you
my.
even believe it? I just can't believe it, because I don't feel 63, except sometimes my knees hurt.
And there's probably a whole new audience, too, a younger demographic that's watching you in baskets
I think
now,
there is,
right?
and so that's one of the things I want to try to do in my stand-up is be able to hold their attention for 9 seconds.
No.
You know, because isn't that the amount that people, do you know what I mean?
Not
young
even.
people?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
That's an eternity, I think.
Yeah, that's nice. Louie, no pausing. No pausing, Louie.
So Caroline's this
Caroline's
week in New York
with
City.
Martha.
Okay. And poor Martha. And Baskets. And
Baskets.
they've renewed it.
They've renewed it. Yay.
Great.
We're baskets.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
and the stand-up project that you mentioned. That
Yes.
Yeah. When
So
can we look forward to that?
You know, I never say when it's going to be. I think you can't wait long enough to make sure it's ready.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to be as good as I can do stand up. I want it to be that solid. So, you know, come and watch me struggle on stage. But in the end, I'll make you laugh.
Be there at the inception.
Yeah.
Louie Anderson, thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much,
spending
Brigitte.
time with us.
I love that. 22 flew.
It did, did
Didn't
it?
it?
It did for me. I didn't know if it
did
would
for
for
me.
you. All right.
22 flew.